I'll call the meeting to order. First order of business is a review of the minutes from last week. I'm going to suggest one change, and I have it all written out because it's in two different parts. So let's go to line 170. And I'm gonna read it to you
And then he's gonna give you.
as I propose to correct it.
It's fine.
So.
Okay, so first sentence is gonna be, Karina spoke with DPW Hadaway about the fencing on Hanson Farm Road, period. And I have this all for you, Jane.
Okay,
You
good.
don't-
And it
Right.
might-
Line item was that?
170.
Okay, 170.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Okay, then I'm gonna propose we insert a sentence that says, the fence was removed for the reconstruction of Hanson Farm Road. Then the next sentence is gonna get rid of and he, and it's gonna say Nate had explained that during the Hanson Farm Road repair project 2016, town manager Burbank had made an agreement to compensate the property owner for their share of the fencing that was not installed, period. Then we're gonna insert another sentence that says, the town was unaware that the original site plan approval for this property required a fence along Hanson Farm Road. Then, next sentence just says, if the town now builds a new fence, we would essentially be paying this property owner twice. The board was not, and then the parentheses, the board was not aware of this financial compensation. And then leave the rest of it the same.
Perfect.
Okay, give that to Jane.
Excellent.
And you'll see where I inserted sentence 1, I just will 1, inserted sentence 2, and those sentences, yeah, right there.
Got it, perfect.
Okay.
I will correct that.
Thank you for picking that up.
Thank you
and
for doing that, yeah.
clarifying that.
Because I looked at it and went, okay, 5 years from now, nobody's.
Yeah, no one's gonna know what
So-
fence and
so I
why.
made him
why-
Exactly.
why-
That's
yeah.
why I try to write it in.
I will make a
Silly.
motion to
Wait,
accept,
did you have any changes?
No, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
accept the meeting minutes of May 16th as amended.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do you want to redo those?
I'm gonna
before
go
we
do it
sign?
right now.
Okay.
Yes. And then-
Public, which I'm gonna
Correct.
take from you. I will make a.
Oh, there is Karina. Hi
She's
there.
right there. Hey there.
Just wanted to make sure you're on board. We're gonna do
I'm
a,
make a motion to accept the non-public meeting minutes as presented.
oh, you read these to us last week. Do you want to second that?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, two things before we move on to the town manager's report. One is we have the tax collector's warrant. So this is giving Lisa Paluso, the tax collector, authority to collect $6,623,761 due on July 1st, 2022. And these, I guess, are being, they're out to the printers, the tax bills are being printed for the
Should
spring.
be in the mail on the 31st, I think she said.
Yeah, so.
Do we need a motion or just sign it?
I think we just sign it.
Perfect.
And then we have one abatement request that came back from the assessors. This is for the property at 7 Hay Hill Road. Is that for you to sign? Thank you. The original assessment is for $1,599,000. The assessors have adjusted the grade of the building to be more in line with similar properties in the area. The revised assessment is $1,301,400. I'll make a motion that we grant the abatement from $599,000 to $1,301,400.
I'll second.
How much is that? That's 300,000?
200,000 abatement, it sounds like.
It's
200.
almost 300,000.
200 and change.
And what was the reason again? I'm sorry.
The grade of the building to be more in line with similar properties.
Okay,
Hay Hill is up in
Yeah,
the
the
landing.
landing, yeah. Okay. You seconded that, yeah?
I did.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Jack, you got to sign on the top as well as 2
All right.
spots.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We can set it that way.
Who's doing that one?
It's done.
That's fully signed.
Thank you.
All right, and then I think the final thing that I have is a letter from the school SAU 68. The school board is going to be looking at the funding formula and they're going to start that process in the spring of 2022. And they're looking for putting together a committee that will consist of 1 select board member from each town, 1 member at large from each town, 1 school board member from each town, 1 neutral member who does not reside in either town, for a total of 7 total people on the committee. And this is to look at the funding formula between the 2 towns, how the funding is split for the cooperative school district. So we need a select board member from town of Lincoln to represent us on that.
I don't mind doing it. I am a school board member and a selectman, so I don't know
It'd be a conflict.
exactly.
I'll nominate OJ.
I'm not gonna do it.
Okay.
I will,
Is there a reason why you want to pass it on to me?
I'm fine with Tammy doing it, actually.
It definitely be conflicts. They're looking for select board and a person.
A school
I
board
think-
member and a
I
select
think
board member.
that'd be definitely conflict. You, Tammy?
I did it last time when we did it in 2014, so I'm familiar with it.
Yeah.
I don't see it as a conflict simply because it's for Lincoln. I'm a Lincoln resident. So whether I'm representing the school board or the select board or a member at large, it's the town of Lincoln's best interest is what I would have to have at heart,
Of
Whether-
course.
no matter what chair I was sitting in. So as far as there being a conflict, in other things, yes. In this, I don't think so, because it's more representing the town of Lincoln.
Well, a strong suggestion, why don't we ask the town manager to check with the New Hampshire Municipal Association, and get back to us with an opinion.
I'm good with that.
Karina, did you hear that? Is that okay with you?
Sure.
And then,
Yeah, then we'll make a decision from there.
sure.
All right, now, the 1 member at large from each town.
Hey, Paul was on it last time. He was. the
Okay, my
member.
first question before we even get into that is, who picks the member at large from each town? The
The
school board
select
or
board.
the select
The
board?
select board, we pick Lincoln's member at large. Woodstock Selectmen picks.
Okay,
Woodstock's
I
member
just
at
want to
large.
make sure before we get into a discussion that we can't have.
Right, no,
Then-
it's our
then
discussion
go
to
ahead.
have. And Paul was that member at large in 2014. He's on tonight. Do you have any interest in it this time, Paul? If you're talking, you're muted. It is.
Karina's laughing. I was pretty discouraged after the last time. I mean, we put a lot of effort into it. I mean, I still have all the paperwork from the last time. It was a lot of effort into it, and it ended up being a political resolve at the end because it just was, there was more people from Woodstock than there was Lincoln on the board.
It was a popularity contest, you're right.
I mean,
And this time though.
I actually recently looked at that. Well, recently, I said probably 4 months ago, and went through some of that. I mean, we really did an exhaustive comparison, and boy, it was discouraging at the end of it. I mean, and Tammy, you were there, you know, I mean, it was, we approved that Lincoln bore the lion's share of it, and it was just, there was no give at all. I guess I'd be willing to try it one more time. You know, maybe the second,
With the knowledge, I think you'd be an asset, so.
maybe the second time's a charm, who knows? But I mean, actually, it would have been the third time, because I was on it both times before. It just keeps getting thrown back because of the makeup of the school board, which is ultimately the authority having jurisdiction.
Right, it's a little more even this time.
Is it? Yeah, I have no idea who's on the school board now, but I guess, yeah,
think we have 4 Lincoln members this time.
if you're willing to put me on there, I guess, yeah, I'll try it one more year.
Thank you.
Well, I'll make a motion then that after the 800 or so applications we received for this position, we put the name of Paul Bowden.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
All right, and with that, Karina, welcome.
Hello, how are you?
Doing well. I hope
Great.
you're doing well too.
I am doing well. We got a negative test today, so we'll be back to school tomorrow. So I'll be in the office back tomorrow. To briefly touch base on the stockade fence, I know we kind of did revisions on that for the minutes. Nate was able to talk to the property owner, and there is some discrepancy of, I guess a compensation was agreed upon, but we are unsure if actual funds transferred hands. So we're going to look into that. It was before John's time, so we got to kind of go back into the old files, but we'll find it just to, confirm one way or the other. But Nate was able to speak with him, and, obviously he's not super thrilled about it, but he's willing to work with us. He would rather have a stockade fence versus a chain link fence. And Nate said that would actually be probably more cost effective for the town to do so. So Nate was gonna, he took some measurements, was gonna price some out just to see kind of what we're working with. So I'll bring that back to the board in the next couple weeks, just to let you guys know.
From my understanding, the stockade fence would be extremely acceptable and probably preferred. And if the property owner prefers that, and it's less expensive, that's a win-win-win. So
Absolutely.
that's good.
Awesome. Like I said, I'll bring that back when Nate gets some quotes. But like I said, it's moving forward, and we're kind of working with everyone on it. So
Thank you.
no worries. All right. So this week, we in our TRT meeting, I don't know if everyone knows what TRT is, but it's technical review team. It's kind of the planning team, fire chief, Carol, myself, Ryan, Lisa. We all got together and we reassigned some tasks. I know we have kind of touched base on this previously, but kind of separating the planning from the code enforcement to kind of lessen the burden on Carol. So everyone got on board, and we had a really productive week. And this week we issued 6 land use permits. 2 of them have been drafted and are just waiting final comments from Ray. So those will be out the door, I imagine, probably by Wednesday. Which leaves us with 4 active permits, 2 active, but they're like long-term projects. One of them's the hotel. The other one, I believe, is a a homeowner that is requesting a variance, so it's going to be a little bit longer. But we really have kind of chopped down the list. We couldn't get off the number 18. We were working with the number 18, it seems like, for the last 6 months, but we're pretty much down to 8, which is great. So hopefully moving forward, we can continue to kind of keep this delegation of tasks going to kind of expedite the permitting process, because we know there's going to be more coming in the next few months, especially with the construction season kind of commencing.
Great.
Karina, was there an email that I saw that indicated that the hours of the planning office are going to be restricted?
Yes, well, it's technically it's not being restricted because for the last, I don't know, year or so, they were supposed to close during certain hours throughout the week. They were supposed to have a shortened work week, just open to the public, not necessarily the amount of hours that the planning team's working. But with Lisa moving over to the tax collection side, we decided it's probably easiest to essentially say those 2 days, the windows close, the planning windows close. But to compensate for that, we have decided that on Thursday mornings, Lisa's going to make a schedule and a calendar for Carol. And on every Thursday morning during the office closure hours, Carol is going to have back-to-back 1-hour appointments for every single person that wants to come in, whether it's a subdivision or a new single family home permit or whatever that may be. Lisa, Monday through Wednesday, is going to set her schedule for her that Thursday morning, and is going to take individual appointments with the applicants on Thursdays. So technically we're going to be closed to the public, but it's going to delegate or, allow some time for Carol to meet one-on-one with these people, because a lot of the time she's being interrupted and then is getting kind of off track, and she can end up being on the phone for an hour or at the window for an hour. So we felt like this was a way to say, when someone comes in with a permit application and they have questions on it, we'll say, we'll schedule you for Thursday at 10 a.m. and then they have an hour with Carol. So we think it's going to be, we think it's going to work.
I like that idea. I guess the terminology that the office is closed that day doesn't sound correct.
Okay.
The office is open. Carol's meeting with public, so it's as public as it can get. I mean, it's a one-on-one, intense public, right?
By appointment only.
By appointment only. Yeah, we can do that. We can change the,
Walk-in is closed, so I just don't want to get people saying, oh, that's closed 2 days a week. No, it's not. It's fully open, but she's with.
by appointment only.
Right,
Appointment.
right.
Okay.
Longer, just a need for a longer discussion with her, so.
All right, we can change the noticing to make it a little bit more clear that we're not closed. It's just, scheduled appointments only or something along those lines.
I think that's a good move. I think that's beneficial to the public. Because if you have one of these situations that you need a longer conversation with Carol about the regulations and ideas or whatever, it gives them a chance to do that. And no one's gonna be standing in line behind them, creating an awkward situation. So no, I think it's great.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we run into a lot of the times that like people will write an email to Lisa, write an email to Carol, and they're writing multiple emails and we don't really know who's getting back to them and whatnot. So if we could delegate a time for them and say Thursday at 10, Thursday at 9, whatever it may be, I think it reassures them that they're going to have the time that they need to talk to Carol to figure it out. And it also allows us to kind of stop the midday kind of constant interruptions that doesn't allow anything else to get done.
Yep, excellent.
Oh, I think it definitely, lends itself to more efficient use of time and personnel. And, I think it's a good idea.
Great. Yep, so we'll change the notice thing and we'll figure that out. We also, the TRT team pretty much met with Granicus this week to do our kickoff meeting. we supplied them with the information they need, our current Excel spreadsheet and our current registration of short-term rentals, and then also our assessing files. So that was a great first step. They said we're kind of ahead of the game with that one. They're hoping that we will be up and running. We won't be at 100%. They said at 75% they go live, because it allows the town to start collecting revenue and identify some of the properties that aren't currently registered. So they said we should be at 75% by mid-August. So they said early August, but I'm giving them a little bit of a buffer. So that program should be up and running this summer. So right now we're reviewing some of the notices. They give us some templates for noticing, and we're going to kind of amend them to suit our needs and reflect our short-term rental ordinance. But then the ball's rolling. So it was, I think, a productive meeting.
Excellent.
Awesome. And then the chief and I, just to touch base on what's going on with One Love and the gazebo, the chief and I discussed it, and we really don't want to prohibit, them from doing something in the gazebo. We all love, especially on a good weather day, to have some, appropriate business and action going on downtown. With such a short turnaround, he was going to look at the schedule to see if he could potentially fill a special detail on Saturday. But what we're thinking is that we're going to have a call with them tomorrow and potentially discuss what kind of additional provisions they're going to need to. Obviously, we'll have to be put on their certificate of insurance, but we get that anyways for the summer music series, so that shouldn't be an issue. But then maybe additional signage, really delineating where the no alcohol behind this point areas are. And then he also said that maybe we could put a call just into the liquor commission, just so they know it's on their radar that there will be an outdoor event. And, if they happen to want to, show up, then, we just wanted to get it on their radar.
Now, are we requiring a separate special event permit for this one day?
They have filled out a special separate event permit. So obviously the fee will come along with it, but yes, they've already done so.
And are we making it a condition of approval that they do have a special detail?
That's kind of to be determined at this point. We talked through some of, well, I guess, first of all, Chad wanted to make sure that if he was going to require it, that he could staff it. So, because it would be silly for us to do so if not. So he was going to check into that for me. But we're kind of back and forth on that now. Like I said, we were going to plan to have a phone call with Jen tomorrow to kind of talk through things.
I mean, the point I'm getting at is that, the taxpayer shouldn't be paying for that.
Oh, absolutely not. Right. Correct.
Pay for it, okay.
Right. If one is required, it will be, from the property owner or from the business owner.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And then just a quick grant update. So last week we submitted final submissions for the Scenic Byways grant, for the Department of Justice grant, which is the speed signs and the radar, solar radar signs. And then we also, with the help of Sam Kenny from Weston Sampson, did apply for the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund grant. I think that's probably something that the town of Lincoln has done in the past to help with the water tank project. So those were submitted all of last week, and we're kind of just in a holding pattern until we hear back from those.
Good.
And then the last thing I have is ladies bath signage. So new signage went up this week at the ladies bath. After our discussion about the, regulating it to Lincoln and Woodstock property owners only, I spoke to the chief about it. And unfortunately, we don't have that in our parking and traffic ordinance. We don't have that as a spot that they can enforce things on. So we have to amend that. We have to amend it to say like no overnight parking and no certain specific things. So that can be done relatively simply. So it shouldn't take that long to accomplish. But we did not include the Lincoln and Woodstock property owners and residents only sign in this first round of signage. So we're gonna have to order additional signs in order to do so. But it did, we did put the 16 parking spaces sign and the no campfires, no glass, no, something else. I can't remember exactly what it said.
No
Okay.
barbecuing.
Carrie?
No barbecue, right.
That was already there, I think.
Okay,
The carry out was on an older sign above the new signage.
Yeah, I think it said like no fires, no glass, no something was one, he ordered 2 of those. And then he ordered 2 of the, ladies bath parking areas are, have 16 parking spaces. And I think he put them on either side, the beginning and the ends of the parking spaces. So
For the restriction to make it with Lincoln and Woodstock residents, we need to change our actual parking ordinance.
you got it.
We're not meeting next week. Would we be able to do that the following week? Would we have appropriate language to make that amendment?
Yeah, I think so. Chad and I, we discussed it the other day when we met, and we think it's probably a relatively simple, just an additional statement on where where essentially the PD has authority to ticket and tow. So I think it would be, a paragraph at most that we're adding to it. It's not going to be that, time consuming.
Okay,
and again, for my information, knowledge, is there any notice requirement that it has to be published, or townspeople have to be given a certain amount of time to comment on it before you can change an ordinance? Again, I don't know.
To be honest, Jack, I don't know, because I feel like I've had mixed answers of this in the past. In my previous towns that I've worked for, they've always held a public hearing, but I think they did that out of courtesy and not necessarily out of like legality. So I will double check on that. And if we do need to have it publicly noticed, like in the newspaper or whatnot, because we're not meeting next week and it won't be till the following week, I'm sure we'll have time to do it in a, the legally, required timeframe.
I don't know, we've made changes in ordinances before, and we have had a public hearing, but it's been at the board meeting, and I don't believe, but check on this, I don't believe it was like put in the newspaper, but it was put on our agenda as a separate item, and people had the chance to
Comment, right.
comment on it, yes.
Yeah, it was noticed as a public hearing, but it's not like a true public hearing that needs to be in the newspaper, 10 days before the meeting or whatever, those timeframes.
That's how we've done it before. If we've done it wrong, let's change it and do it right, but
No, and the
get
reason,
it on the agenda.
the reason why I asked, I mean, if somebody was told or ticketed and they
We
said,
want-
wait a minute,
yeah.
the ordinance wasn't done correctly.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
don't want to come back to us.
Yeah, no, I'll double check the RSA, and whatever we're required to do, we'll do. But like I said, we're well enough within that time frame. I think we can do it, and we will just hold it, first thing on our regular agenda for the 6th or whatever the first meeting is. I think it's the 6th. And that's pretty much all I have. I am meeting, this will be my first coalition communities meeting is actually tomorrow. So I'll probably be able to give you an update on that. That's relatively new to me, the whole donor town and recipient town. So I'll give you an update on where we stand with that at the next meeting.
Sounds good. Did you have anything?
2 things. Last week, JJ Bijou had his 25th anniversary working for the town of Lincoln,
Really?
which is really cool. Yeah. I love that we have a lot of long-term employees, and says a lot for the town, and we appreciate him. Thank you, JJ. That's awesome.
Just saw him yesterday. He was at the mini
golf
golf
tournament,
tournament.
yeah.
And he was very nicely dressed.
Awesome.
He had the snazziest shirt on. Everybody was commenting on his shirt.
Kevin plays a very serious mini golf game.
see his queen hat?
No,
Are you
No.
serious?
no, I'm kidding.
Okay, I think I don't know how to say it publicly, but I think the shirt was a distraction from his golfing ability. He noticed the shirt, not, anyway.
Hilarious. The other thing I
He's a
wanted to
good
say,
sport.
he is. They all are, but I wanted to point out that the flowers at the gazebo and at town hall, the tulips are awesome.
Beautiful.
Just stands out. They look gorgeous. They really look beautiful. So
Agreed.
her name that does the flowers.
Pat Robert's daughter.
Shelley,
Shelley, yes, thank
Joelle.
you. They look fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
I just
wanted
passed that on.
she's been doing that for,
Ever, yeah. Great job, because it really looks nice. That's all I had.
Jack?
I think, Jane, a couple of weeks ago, you had sent out a notice to us about the joint meeting with Woodstock that's been changed from June to July. I
Yes,
think
sir.
2 dates were thrown out. Was it July 11th and July 25th?
It was last week. I'm waiting for Woodstock. I'm communicating with Judy now for them to confirm which of the dates, if it matters.
Well, both of those dates are nights that we meet on anyway, so
Right.
to us, I guess it really doesn't matter then.
Right, because we're gonna do it here anyway.
Right, exactly. like
They
you
just
said.
thought we had the bigger forum.
Yep.
In the event there's a lot of people, so
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
have that confirmed by the end of the week.
That's all. We had a confirmation.
Okay, then I'll move on to public participation. Anybody who wants to speak to the board? Paul?
Yeah, Jay, how would I get it, or how, where could I get a copy of the plan for the Loon Mountain Bridge construction project? Does the town have a copy of that? Can I come in there and review it? Is it at Public Works? Does anyone know where it is?
I think we have it in town hall, Paul. I was putting some maps away the other day. And I think I actually think I remember where I saw it. So if you wanted to pop in, I could probably grab it for you.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
No worries. Just real quickly, I didn't want to leave Debbie out on the whole fence conversation. I did touch base with Nate about your fence as well as the Hanson Farm fence, because I see she's in the audience. So he was going to get that chain link on order as well and put it on his summer schedule. So it's not off our radar.
Excellent. Did you hear that?
I did,
Okay,
thank you.
all right. Do we have any need to meet in non-public? We don't have a signed agreement back on the proposed settlement.
Nope, we don't have anything signed for that. And we also don't have anything back on the easement yet. I did go in a kind of email chain back and forth with Mark and Sam Kenny from Weston Sampson in regards to the easement and the survey work today. Because we want to, the easement, there wasn't really any, there was very minimal revisions. So I don't see an issue with that being signed. The survey is going to take a little bit of orchestrated work, but we went back and forth today. So hopefully that ball's continuing to roll as well.
That sounds good. If you do get a revised easement back, if you want to email that out to us so that when we come to the meeting, we're ready to either ask questions or vote one way or the other. So that can just get moved forward more efficiently.
Sure.
Just because if we have any questions, I don't want to wait,
No, right. You want them answered that night versus, right.
get it signed. So any questions we have, we can throw it back to the lawyer before the meeting.
Sure.
So, okay, Paul?
Yeah, Jay, I did have one more question. Is there a chance, or would you consider putting a sign? I know I've talked about it several times. Down by, I'm trying to think of the best, down by Napa, at that intersection, to show that there was another access to 93 for the summer, just to see if it helps alleviate some of the traffic on Main Street.
We talked to the state about that.
DOT controls that, not us.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Okay.
isn't that the state right away?
I was just wondering if there would be a possibility to get a sign to say, that says alternate access to 93. Just, in case people want to do that way there, they could, it might, prevent some of the traffic coming down. Because there are times in the summer where it gets backed up quite a bit. You know what I mean?
I will say that if we are gonna ask DOT to change the signage, I think maybe now is the time because they are changing the signage further down the road for the new medical facility and for their driveway permit. They're moving some of the railroad signs and they're moving the Interstate 93 sign. They're moving a couple different state signs to accommodate for that wider entrance onto Railroad Street. So, I mean, if we're gonna do it, we might as well ask right now because we're doing it, you know, in concession with the other signs.
I mean, I think it might help in the summer. It may even help in the winter. I don't know. It's just something that trying to give people, you know, another alternative to be able to get to 93.
Karina, check through your old emails on your computer, because I know that conversation was had once before with our previous town manager and the state DOT guys.
Was it Phil Bolio?
I believe so.
They weren't receptive.
No,
They said no.
All right.
Okay.
Um,
I
I'll
saw
look into
that.
it.
But check through the emails, see if you can find something as to maybe why, or maybe they might be receptive again, or I don't know, but just take a look. before
Yeah, see,
you-
if they said flat out no,
No, and this is why,
Let's
then
not
you
waste
know,
the
if
time,
they
but if
said
they
no,
said-
not yet, then you
Yeah.
can, yeah.
Following up
Do
on
that.
DOT, Karina, to the best of your knowledge, does DOT have a temporary office or something on Main Street here in Lincoln?
That's for construction.
What was it?
The resurfacing projects, the notch and their local projects, they've rented an office space there.
DOT or the,
Yep.
so
Yep.
DOT is in town. We can make life as tough as we want on them if they start parking, unless they give us what we want.
great.
No, we want to play nice.
See, I have this,
The other alternative is a special offer.
yes, negotiation agreement without giving in. And believe me, it's well worth reading. But, you know, when you gotta play hardball, you gotta play hardball to get what you want.
That's the
sometimes.
Massachusetts in them coming out, I can hear it.
I mean, another alternative, OJ, is to the town used to put a special detail on occasion down by that intersection to get people through when there wasn't anyone backed up, headed up towards in that four-way intersection in order to facilitate getting people through that intersection faster on busy weekends and, you know, busy times. I don't know if that's something, you know, the board would consider as well. Just something to try and alleviate some of the traffic on Main Street, you know, during the peak times is all.
Right. Well, if we get approved for the traffic, you know, message board sign, we could put that right there and direct them the other way. So,
Yeah. But I mean, sometimes that one traffic light bogs things down on Main Street, you know, and there's only a few people waiting in the queue going up towards Clark's. They used to stop that and let, you know, a lot more cars go through to the interstate. And that did help on busy weekends and stuff, but just trying to think, you know, think ahead before summer gets there and, you know, the traffic starts and we get to start getting complaints. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Paul. Jim,
If you're gonna be talking to DOT about these set of lights down here, I've mentioned it before a number of times. Have a delayed green for the people coming from Moon Mountain down, so the people coming from North Woodstock up can turn on to Connector Road. There's a long line going down. Somebody wants to turn on to Connector Road, they sit there forever.
right.
that's true.
If you're gonna change all that, that would be a big help too.
There's another reason not to give DOT anything until they cave into us, right, Jim?
So you just get a car you don't really care about with full coverage and go, that's what I do. They 9 times out of 10, they stop.
Right.
Wait,
Well, and this all could be potentially included in, you know, last week, we decided to move forward with the North Country Council kind of corridor management or corridor study. So these all might be things that are potentially recommended and, you know, can move forward with.
And that's true. I mean, if we do get approved for that study, if Pernock comes out and says we should have a delayed green, not that Jim's opinion isn't important, but if you get a study behind it and saying, you know, that would help, I think that's a good idea, and maybe they could investigate that too, so.
Yep.
Good point.
I'm surprised there hasn't been a dozen accidents.
No.
And I wouldn't
I'll
want
keep trying.
anybody hitting my brain.
Oh, you have a brand new truck.
Good for you.
Well, I've had it for a couple of years.
Oh, okay.
It's in the
Snow.
garage in the wintertime. It's never seen snow. And it's not going to.
All
Couple
right.
of years, if I want to see snow, I'm gonna drive to it.
If we don't have anything in non-public, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
There we go.